Sports City, chefs, Sports City, chefs, yeah. Cavi, Taj.
What's going on, Sports City? It's your boy Sirius back at the helm with another edition of Finger Foods, an exclusive here on Sports City Chefs, the network, and SportsCityChefs.com. As I customly say before we get started, if you're not currently a subscriber, I would definitely urge you guys to become a subscriber. Hit that post notification and that bell and get notified every time we post. We are also on a plethora of different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So if you enjoy the content that we bring to you on a regular basis, I would definitely urge you guys to jump over to our social media platforms and interact with us and become a follower. These thoughts and these feelings are those of my own and do not represent the Pittsburgh Steelers or Sports City Chefs as a company. I shoot from the hip, I pull no punches, and I definitely spare no feelings. I took some time away last week to kind of reassess and readjust and recalibrate my thoughts and my feelings on the 2022 Pittsburgh Steelers as I see it through the first quarter of the year. And I didn't really get a chance to speak on what took place at Acrisure Stadium against the New York Football Jets. But I also wanted to talk about the smashing, as Mike Tomlin calls it, that took place up in upstate New York against the Buffalo Bills. So for this edition of Finger Foods, I'm going to talk about both as a collective. Luckily for me, what I have to talk about is kind of similar between both games, as the issues that I'm going to highlight in this episode bled through both games. As is custom for this year, I'm going to kind of compartmentalize the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I wanted to start with the good that I saw from both games. And that's really the emergence and the implementation of my rookie quarterback, Kenny Pickett. I saw a lot from both games that is something that can definitely be built upon. The moment was not too big for him. It's one thing to play at Acrisure Stadium as a collegiate player. It's a whole different ball game when you're a professional and you go into a situation that you weren't prepared for. You took second team reps all that weekend, got the nod at halftime, and came in and started slinging that rock around and, kind of got the offense moving. So again, the moment was not too big for Kenny Pickett. He found great chemistry, almost instantaneously with fellow rookie George Pickens. And the two of those men were able to kind of maneuver the football down the field and kind of set some things up. He stared at the face of the blitz and was able to connect with Freiermuth and others, thus making things very, very fluid, if you will, with the offense. I know in the New York Jets game, he was able to get in the end zone and the team somewhat held a lead in the weighty moments of that ball game. They subsequently lost said lead, but I'll talk about that later. But as far as the good between both the Jets game and the Buffalo Bills game, it really goes on the heads of my rookies, being Kenny Pickett and George Pickens. I don't want to say necessarily the bad, but I guess the next tier down would be my offensive line. I really felt through both games, if you will, the offensive line really did do some things as far as blocking and opening, running lanes, if you will. That is something that can be built upon now. That's going to also be kind of crippled by their inability to not commit holding penalties and not commit, penalties and critical moments and put us somewhat behind the change. But if a play was ran to success without any penalties involved, I do felt as though they were able to get hats on hats or move a pile or get in a way long enough for a running back or a quarterback to survey the field and do what he needs to do to matriculate the ball and get us in scoring position. Now, again, the bad, if you will, as I alluded to a second ago, would have to honestly be the fact that we are very, 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 very highly penalized on the offensive line front. I think to a man, each one has, more than 2 holding calls, illegal use of hands, we're lining up, with not enough men on the offensive line. That has a lot to do with wide receiver placement, and things of that nature. So as far as getting the playoffs and not necessarily shooting ourselves in the foot, we need to do a better job at that. And that goes both offensively and defensively. We are near the top of the league, if you will, in penalty yards. Defensively, illegal use of hands. There's a lot of defensive holding, a lot of pass interference, a lot of aiding drives or, drive helpers, if you will, to our opponents and stopping our efforts on offense. I can't count the amount of times that something great happens as far as a play down the field via the run or via the pass that tends to get called back due to an offensive lineman holding or due to a blindside block or an illegal use of hands or a misalignment. Or something along those lines. You get off the field on third downs, and unfortunately, that the holding call was called on a defense, or illegal use of hands to the face was called, and it keeps the drive alive, thus making the defense stay on the field longer. So, I think we need to really cut down on our penalties. That would be the bad. The ugly: coaching and defense. I'm a 39-year-old man, okay? I've been a Pittsburgh Steelers fan ever since I came out of the womb. My father has me recorded and videoed and pictures when I was, fresh out with me in Steeler gear and me saying, "Go Steelers, Cowboys suck." And, I would sit there with my dad. I can recall that I would sit there with my dad and learn how to break down film and look at tape and understand the X's and O's of the game. And everything that I learned about football was through me and my dad and me and my family members just breaking down Steeler tape. So I say all that to say this. I watched a lot of Steeler football over my 38 years. I have never been more embarrassed to don my black and gold, to wear my color, to drive my car, which is decked out in Steeler paraphernalia, than I am after watching what I watched these past 2 weeks on the defense side of football. We are at home playing the New York Jets, and we can't get off the field to preserve a win. It's bad enough that we have yet to be able to ink a win in the win column without TJ Watt. It's bad enough that that's going to be the narrative, and that's going to be the excuse, and that's going to be something that haters and people who enjoy doom and gloom Steelers is going to write about until the cows come home. We had an opportunity at home 2 weeks ago to get a win, and we didn't get it done. I don't give a flying you-know-what about who was injured. I don't give a flying you know what about who went down in the middle of the game. If the standard is the standard, and the men that wear those damn hats and put on those helmets every week represent the Pittsburgh Steelers, then you find a way to get it done. Period. I was so disgusted by not the fact that we lost. Again, a loss is a loss. Like, we're not going to go 16, 17 and 0. We're not, I mean, there's going to be losses throughout the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not mad at that. But in the manner in which we lost both weeks are unacceptable. And the fact that as I sit here recording this, Matt Canada has a job right now is baffling. The fact that as I record this, our defensive coordinator has a job right now is baffling. I understand Mike Tomlin did his press conference on Tuesday and was talking about he's not going to make swift changes because he's not going to shoot a dead deer. I forget how he worded it. The hell with that. You messing with that coach speak. Because if your heart and if your soul and if your mind is really about changing the narrative and changing the course that we are currently on, then you have to honestly look at the film and make some heads roll. Arthur Millette, I applaud you, sir. Listen, my guy, I drag you on this network and other platforms because I don't think you're a very decent corner and you get burnt a lot. But the fact that you had the balls to check our team for being all laughy, happy-go-lucky as we're getting beat by 35 points. We got beat by 35 points. That's the equivalent of Alabama going up against Popcorn University somewhere. And we're over there just laughing, kikiing, and carrying on like we just, at a birthday party, someone with a bottle in our hand. And then you want to come in here, Deontay Johnson, and come in here, Najee Harris, and come in here and talk about we need to stick together. When we start winning again, don't jump back on the bandwagon. No, we're pissed. We got beat by 35 points. We're pissed. You want us to stop being pissed? Do something about it. Once again, Deontay Johnson drops. Listen, you are 2 weeks in a row a toenail away from being in the end zone. Do you know that as I record this right now and as you're listening to this right now, we are one of few teams that have no receiver touchdowns in the league. 0. But you want to get upset with Steelers fans for being upset with your performance. To say I'm annoyed and frustrated will be a great understatement. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. As I said in my intro, I pull no punches. I spare no feelings. If you have a key card to get into practice, if you have a key card to get into the building, if when you go to your bank account, your check that gets deposited says Pittsburgh Steelers on it, and you're not pissed, I got a problem with you. This is below the line. This is not even below the line. Like, this is Washington Commanders type stuff. This is Houston Texans type stuff. And you miss me with this whole narrative that we're in the middle of a rebuild. We're in the middle of a rebuild. What? What are you talking about? We're in the middle of a rebuild. I can accept a loss. Okay? I've taken many of them in my day. I'm probably going to take several more before the good Lord calls me home. I can take a loss. I can't take not showing up. Minka Fitzpatrick gets the bag this summer. Gets the bag. And what Gabe Davis did to him on that play, where he caught the ball with one hand and pretty much just muscled him for a touchdown. What? Are you kidding me? Josh Allen is a great quarterback. I tip my cap to this guy. I really do. I mean, he's been the front runner for MVP for a couple of years, and this may be the year he gets it. I tip my cap to this guy. This man didn't miss. He can realistically wear the same color jersey, the same jersey this week that he wore last week. He didn't get touched. We didn't blitz nobody. We didn't make him feel uncomfortable. They did whatever they want, how they wanted. Walked into the crib, kicked the door down, ate your food, put your feet up, watch a TV show, made out with your spouse. They did whatever the hell they wanted to do. I'm pissed. And I'm going to be pissed until I see some resemblance of change. The road doesn't get any easier, which is why I was so angry about losses to the New England Patriots and losses to the New York Jets. The road doesn't get any easier. We play a guy who has routinely kicked our butts on Sunday, and Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This man rolls out of bed and finds out when he plays the Steelers, circles it on his calendar, and is like, yo, I'm going to light these clowns up like a Christmas tree. Because he's always done it. And back then when he did it, our defense knew how to stop the run. Did we figure out how to tackle? We ain't stopping no run this year, right now. When Tom Brady used to light us up for 5 touchdowns and 500 yards as a member of the New England Patriots, he had nobody receivers. This dude got Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin. I'm not very, very encouraged about what I'm going to have to watch on Sunday. But as a fan, I'm going to plop my butt down and watch it happen. So where do we go from here? Okay. As a Steelers fan, as the Pittsburgh Steelers, where do we go from here? I think a lot is going to be said about where we go from here based off of what we see on Sunday. If we see much of the same, if we see a lack of commitment to impose our will in any facet of the game, hell, we couldn't even punt the ball right. We couldn't even punt it. Bazzi, which is pretty sure-footed, missing field goals. Very makeable. But if I don't see any type of resemblance of change, of fight, of give a damn, if you will, heads need to roll. Period. We have been begging, pleading, sending emails, sending letters, making phone calls, making Facebook and Instagram and Twitter posts and celebrities coming out and saying something. We have been trying to shake the cage of Mike Tomlin to get Matt Canada out of there. We've been trying to shake the cage of Mike Tomlin to do something on the defense side of the ball. You bring in a Brian Flores. And Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach. He's a defensive guy. The fact that we are near the bottom of the league in defensive efficiency is staggering. Somebody has to answer for that. I refuse to subscribe to this narrative that, you know what, we starting a rookie and we're in a rebuild and blah, blah, blah. A lot of teams rebuild. We have been very, very blessed and very, very fortunate to not necessarily rebuild, but retool. You can't look at our roster top to bottom and tell me there's no talent there. You can't look at the roster top to bottom and say, you know what, this is a team that, yeah, they should be getting blown out by 35 points to a Buffalo Bills team. They should be losing at home to the likes of the New England Patriots and the New York Football Jets. You can't tell me that. Therefore, I refuse to subscribe to that type of narrative. Because, as Mike Tomlin would say, that's seeking comfort. And I refuse to do that. I know what I'm seeing. I know what I'm watching. Therefore, don't get mad at me when we voice what we expect. With that being said, I want to thank you all for your time. You know, this is a tough one. But, you know, it rains on the just and the unjust. You know, and for as much trash as I talk to my fellow chefs and other sport fans across the social media platforms, sometimes you got to wear it. And it's an uncomfortable wear. But believe me, I'm wearing it. I don't like the fit. I don't like how it feels. I can't wait till it's time for me to take it off and throw it back at somebody. But it's a jacket I got to wear until we figure it out. With that being said, God bless. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Sports City,